I went into advertising because the film business in Canada, which is where I studied at university, was very, very small, and there really wasn't any entry points to get into the business. And I thought I could get into a business that was associated with film, that was like film. You know, making TV adverts is making little 30-second or 60-second movies. To me, that was the closest business I could get into with my degree, with the hopes of moving abroad to places like Britain or the States where there were more developed film industries and making a leap over from there. So my long-term strategy was always to get into film. I saw advertising as a conduit. My very first job was delivering newspapers. I used to do the paper round in my neighborhood for a Sunday newspaper called the Sunday Sun. And I used to do that every Sunday, and then I moved on to one of the daily newspapers and was delivering the papers 7 days a week for my pocket money, yeah. I ultimately wanted to get into film. I was very lucky in that when I made the decision to leave advertising, I was involved in some productions of some short films. But it was Elton who gave me the opportunity to follow him around the world in the middle of a world tour and film a behind-the-scenes, warts and all documentary about his life called Tantrums and Tiaras. And I picked up for the first time in my life a video camera and just started filming and shot the heck out of everything. And learned so much about the process of filmmaking, you know, at the time. We are producing a sequel to Romeo and Juliet, which is going to be Romeo and Juliet 2, Sherlock Gnomes. And then we are also developing a musical fantasy film of Elton's life story, which is going to be called Rocket Man. And that's being written by Lee Hall, who wrote Billy Elliot. Yeah, the DNA of Rocket Pictures is any film, television, or theatrical project where music is at the heart of it. Either it's about music, or there's music being played, or music being written specifically for the project. If it's not something to do with music, then it's not for us, because we feel with Elton and the resources that we have, we can do music-based films or musicals as well as or better than just about everyone else. So we get projects through all the time. We get scripts for comedies and for dramas, lots of different things. If they don't have anything to do with music, we just send them back, because that's not our game. I learned from my father. He always had great respect for his clothing, and particularly for his tailoring. And Dad always looked after his clothes incredibly well. You know, when he came home from work, he took his suit off, put it in the press, put it back on the hanger, hung it up straight away. No sort of flinging jackets onto sofas and leaving things on the floors of cars or stuff. He always respected his clothes and respected beautiful tailoring. And I think first of all, get your clothes tailored properly. I think that makes a huge difference. If you're going to go to the trouble of wearing, you know, a suit, you should have it properly tailored and fitted. And then treat it with care and treat it with respect, and it will last a very long time and always look, you know, really sharp and not shabby. So that would be my dad to thank for that. Well, the Elton John Aids Foundation was set up because of Elton getting sober and realizing that during the 80s, when people were dying and there was no treatments and no cure, that he didn't do anything because he was too caught up in his addictions. And with sobriety, he felt a newfound sense of life and celebration of life, and also a sense of obligation that he should have done something sooner, and it was time to pay back. So he set up his own foundation, started very small, with the notion of providing money for people living with or people affected by people living with AIDS. So we don't fund research, we fund awareness, education, food, financial assistance, condom distribution, needle exchange, anything that deals with preventing or treating and helping people live better lives with HIV/AIDS. That's what we get involved in. Our relationship has never been anything deliberate. I think we've just always tried to live our lives honestly and openly. And as a result, largely because of Elton's huge celebrity and his musical talent, it's created this platform which we, as a couple, are able, I think, to hopefully affect some positive change in the world. Certainly when we had our civil partnership on the 21st of December, we had it on that day because it was the very first day that civil partnerships became legal in Britain. And we felt this is groundbreaking legislation. Britain often leads the world in government and social change. And what a wonderful opportunity to really give it profile and say to the rest of the world, this is a great thing and a positive thing that we're embracing. So yeah, you don't feel pressure about it. We don't deliberately think about what we do, but we are very conscious to always try and set a good example in everything that we do. But we're human beings like everyone else, and I'm sure from time to time we screw it up. But we'll always be honest. It's the only way to live your life. I had a very idyllic Canadian childhood. I was one of 3 brothers. I had loving, caring, supportive parents. We weren't wealthy, but we had all the basics that we needed and a lot of love. No, I could never imagine my life has turned out the way it has turned out. The whole course of my life literally shifted on the basis of an invitation to a dinner party. And that was a dinner party to go down to Elton's house for dinner with a group of people. It wasn't a fix-up or a setup. And the shy Canadian side of me initially thought, ooh, I was getting a couple hours notice. I thought we need time to prepare for that, and then that sounds scary and intimidating. And part of me wanted to say no, and then the other part of me said, well, an opportunity to meet, a great musician, a great artist. Take some chances in life, take some risks. And so I didn't walk through the door of Elton's house thinking I would meet the love of my life. It just happened accidentally and naturally, and I guess I'm just living proof that, every decision you make in life can change the course of your life. You can change it like that. And if I had not walked through that door, I don't know where I'd be, but I certainly wouldn't be here talking to you. Fatherhood is the most amazing thing in the world. It takes all of the focus in your life away from you to your child. Up until that point, you really can almost indulge yourself by not having children in kind of being very selfish. When you have children, they come first. And everything we do in our life now is structured around providing the best environment and the best amount of love and support for our son so he can have a happy, healthy upbringing. It's a slightly frightening thing. It's a lot of responsibility. And you certainly think a lot more about your own mortality in a way that I never have before. So it makes you feel a little bit more health conscious, a little bit more responsible, because you have this beautiful little soul in your life now that's 100% dependent on you, and you have to be there for them in every capacity. So you got to be fit and ready and up to the job. But it's wonderful. What you get back, I'll go home every night from the office at rush hour, drive to Windsor from central London to be there for his bath time, because we've always consistently done his bath and bedtime story. And you're sitting there in the traffic and you're in this, rain and everything, and then you just walk through the door when you get home, and that little smile and the arms go up and papa, papa, and then suddenly all the stresses go away, and it just feels like the most amazing feeling in the world. So the rewards far, far outweigh any of the changes or difficulties you encounter on the route. It's amazing.